Quick disclaimer, I'm recording this video in university accommodation, so sorry for any background noise that you may or may not hear. The Interstellar Song Contest broke me. No joke. Before I go on, I know how negative I've sounded about this season so far, and I know that a lot of people seem to be really enjoying it, but I just hope you all know that I take no pleasure in hating this season. The exact opposite, in fact. What I'm trying to get at is, I'm kind of just done with Doctor Who now. At least this era of Doctor Who. It's just genuinely not enjoyable to me, and it's made me apathetic for my favourite show of all time, something I was so excited for only a year ago. And this episode was the final sign that it may be time to stop. I'll probably watch and review the season finale, and then I think I'm out. Anyway, what did I hate so much about the Interstellar Song Contest? Well, I thought the plot was honestly dire. Gone are the days when Doctor Who had iconic monsters and villains that were slapped over as much marketing as possible. Clockwork droids, Slitheen, peg dolls. Nah, this week we have a couple of people with horns, ready to blow up Eurovision in space. See, now that sounds like it should be fun, but when you write out that premise within about 10 minutes to make way for a bunch of corridor dialogue, I really have to ask, how was this the most expensive Doctor Who episode of all time? It's a bunch of people just talking about what the villain is going to do. Hardly the high-octane sci-fi I come to this show for. And speaking of the villain, does no one else find it a little bit odd that this episode villainizes a freedom fighter? Again, it's like we're retreading ground from Kablam, except this time it's apparent that the villain is an obvious Palestine stand-in. And I know they try and get the audience to sympathise with them in a really poor attempt, I might add, but like, Juno Dawson also decided to make their motivation the murder of 3 trillion people and have the Doctor resolve the plot by fucking torturing them. Seriously, what am I watching? This isn't Doctor Who. The show from my childhood that shaped my politics and morality, taught me to always be kind, forgiving and understanding, to always accept difference and strive for change. And now its main character is violently torturing a freedom fighter who is represented as a one-note mass murderer. Am I going crazy? You all actually think this is okay? I'd go in deeper on how this is borderline character assassination for the Doctor, how he didn't even give Kid a chance and just decided to jump straight into the death threats and electrocution, how the Doctor that I know would have at least given him a chance, how the Doctor I know wouldn't ever be this hateful and violent towards a goddamn Dalek, except that one time where the Doctor was actively painted as the bad guy for doing so, which was all part of his arc to grow as a person and to be a better role model. But you know what? I don't even care anymore. And Ncuti hasn't really felt like the Doctor to me since the church on Ruby Road, and this was just kind of the final nail in the coffin for me. Listen, I like Ncuti Gatwa. He's a good actor, but I don't think he possesses the necessary gravitas and weight of a character like this. And I don't think I necessarily blame him either, because he just has no character. In season 1, he's incredibly contradictory and overall really static, and in this season, he's just suddenly decided that he has uncontrollable anger issues that result in him electrocuting orphans. I genuinely just don't see why this is happening. As for the other characters, meh. I got excited when Lux and the Well actually managed to humanise some of their supporting characters, but I guess a broken clock is always right twice a day, right? This time, the attempt to characterise these people was beyond pathetic. The line about certain people being misunderstood and other people are scared of what they don't understand was just beyond cringe. But the absolute worst offender of this episode, worse than the terrible dialogue, worse than the awful pacing, worse than the character assassination, worse than the skewed politics, which is becoming a horrifying trend for this season, has to be the cameos. Why did they choose to bring back Susan in what is possibly the worst episode of Doctor Who that I have ever watched? What's that? Worse than Fear Her? Yes, I actually like parts of that episode. I can name 2 scenes that I actually really like just off the top of my head. Worse than Orphan 55? Yes, for all of its faults, it's actually kind of enjoyable and entertaining. For the wrong reasons, sure, but at least it is entertaining. But the Interstellar Song Contest, I don't think it has a single scene that I like. Maybe the final scene, that was kind of interesting and made me at least slightly want to stick around for whatever atrocities the finale will bring. But otherwise, nothing. There is nothing I enjoyed about this episode. And then they do a post-credit scene that brings back the Rani in what is possibly the worst villain reveal of all time, where she just casually drops every detail about herself to two people that have no significance whatsoever, and then fucking generates an idea which is maybe the worst offence to the show since the Jimmy Savile appearance in 1985. See you guys next week. 0.5 out of 10. I really didn't think we could stoop this low. Thank you all for watching. Sorry for my overwhelming negativity on the show. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments on whether or not you liked this episode. If you want to check out my other reviews for Doctor Who, click the playlist on the left. If you want to see some other cool stuff on the channel, click the link on the right. As always, I have been your host, Mr. Greaves, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.